I would say in short, long story short, just keep the message very, very authentic, very specific, and very, very polite.
Welcome to another episode of the Paid Search NYC podcast. Very excited today to be joined by Snow Wren, who is a senior paid search analyst at Monks. Snow, welcome and thanks for coming on.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Of course. So today we're going to be chatting about how to get that first break in the industry. And from the conversations that me and you have had, both in person at the Paid Search Networking event, it was clear that you've got loads of really good advice for people who are trying to break into the industry. So wanted to sort of tap into that and chat a lot about kind of your experience, advice there. Maybe let's start off with a little bit towards the beginning. So where did you study? What did you study? And kind of what was your original career plan, vision?
Yeah, sure. So some of my background, I was born and raised in China. And about 7 years ago, I moved to New York to get my master's in social media and digital marketing. In terms of my original career vision, while in school, I did 2 fashion internships as I had this fantasy of working in the fashion industry. Yeah.
Nice. And then how did that, what happened after that? What was the next stage?
Sure. So after I did my 2 fashion internships, I realized fashion wasn't the right fit for me. So I shifted my career focus to marketing. And the main reason of choosing marketing is because as an international student, I could only take jobs related to my major. And I remember about a month, literally before graduation, I started looking for marketing internships and full-time jobs as I didn't have any experience in the field. And after sending out many job applications and follow-ups, I finally landed this unpaid internship at a very small marketing agency in New York. But that internship allowed me to gain very hands-on experience, eventually leading to my first full-time job in the United States.
Nice. That's awesome. How did you get that first internship?
So that first internship, again, just as a lot of people, I did my job application, no response. At that moment, I did not have, you can say later, zero connections because I was in school. But I don't know why I had this idea. I was like, I can create my own connections. So I literally, went to LinkedIn, started reaching out to the CEO at that small marketing agency. I also reached out to people who used to work at that company and just basically, asking questions. So, from there, I got, an interview. But then again, that through the job interview, I did not get the job immediately. It involves a lot of follow-ups, eventually led to that first internship, yes.
Nice. It's interesting that the use of LinkedIn, I think everyone knows that's a great resource, but maybe people don't always know exactly the best way to go about it. How did you mentioned you reached out to the CEO, you reached out to people who work there. What did you say? Like, how do you introduce yourself cold and be like, hey, can you remember what approach you used there?
Yeah, so I would say that as I mentioned, before with you, the in person, I always did my research, right? So what is the company? What is the company? What the company is doing? Who is is basically the person. If there's anything that we had in common, for example, maybe shared interest, something like that. I would say in short, long story short, just keep the message very, very authentic, very specific, and very, very polite. I think what really allows me to get that interview opportunity is basically showing him that even though I'm an international student, even though back then my English was not perfect, but I was really determined, and I know what I was doing. Yes.
Nice. Yeah, that's a great point. Making sure that message on LinkedIn is authentic, because people get so many messages on that platform. Being able to start off in a way that shows you haven't just copy paste, you've looked at their profile, and if you can find something in common, I mean that's great. And even though you probably still have to send quite a few messages to get that response, or your response rate is going to be higher if you just spend that time sort of creating a more authentic message. And I think that the marathon one's really good. That's very interesting. Anything else that you did there that you'd recommend other people sort of think about or try and do when they're trying to get an internship?
So I think is a lot when I was at school, as mentioned earlier, I did not I had no idea what I really want to do. I think first thing what is very important is to narrow the focus. When students at school, a lot of school has a career counselor. Students can talk with career counselor to figure out, this is my major, what is my choice after graduation, what kind of job that I can pursue, right? So look to me, for me, like after my marketing, it's basically how to say that. It's like my situation is going to be different because again, as I mentioned, as international students, I was not allowed to do other kind of jobs, so I have to choose marketing. But for any students who are not really sure what they want to do, I guess the first tips is basically talking with professors even, or talking with career service counselor to really narrow that focus, because that will give people in general a very clear direction. And when we actually do our job search, it makes the job search actually easier, allows us to take action. Yes.
Yeah, that's a great point. And I guess by narrowing that focus as well, when you're connecting with people on LinkedIn who are either at the company or maybe involved in the hiring process, you probably are able to narrow what they care about more.
Yes.
When you're sending messages, you can be more pointed in terms of like covering off certain things. Whereas if you go quite broad, it's just more difficult to sort of hit those points. So that's really interesting. Yeah, I guess great advice. I think one thing that is a bit tricky within our industry is there are a lot of roles that are more broad to start off with. Would you recommend, maybe it's a bit of a tough question, how would you think about, like, if someone is coming to digital marketing but doesn't really know what they want to do, could they still go for a broad role? Or would you say it's better just to try and pick one, start off in one, do that for a year, and then you can always go broader easier because you have some experience? How would you think about that?
So that is a very, very good question. So, I would say that my path is going to be different. For me, I started with influence marketing. But then after doing that for about 2 years, I want to try Google Ads, which you can also say search engine marketing. So my example is not about traditional for people who want to do digital marketing. But anyway, to answer your question, I think a good start is a lot of positions is called digital marketing. So people can try digital marketing. So that will allow people who do not have any real-time experience to try a little bit of everything, including social media, including search engine marketing, or maybe even influence marketing, So from there, it will give us an idea about which area, which fields, basically, I'm interested. But again, even for my situation, when I chose influence marketing, but I work at an agency, it still allows me to pivot from influence marketing to search engine marketing. So there's no, I would say, right or wrong path. But I would say what I realized is starting at my career working at an agency has been very, very helpful because we have access to so many different job positions, not only even specific, social media marketing or other tabs.
Yeah. So I guess the point there is, there's no wrong path. And probably the cost of choosing the wrong path is so low because you can pivot very easily, very, very early in your career. And if you are going to an agency and you have gone specialized, it's, there's plenty of options to then go broad, move into different channels. So I think it's a great point. There's no real wrong way to do that early on. Anything else that you did that kind of helped you in the interview process or preparation process?
Yes. So I would say that, again, just if I can only say a couple tips, I would say that reaching out to people on LinkedIn. That was the first thing that is very, very important, which we already discussed. It's basically in short, reaching out to the right people, sending sending the right message, and then sending as many as possible. Those are equally important. But then another tip is basically once we landed, like that interview, like for me, I always come, prepared. For example, I always learn how to pronounce, the interviewer's name correctly. Also think through all the potential questions, including introduction or maybe some other question they might ask related to the resume or related to any behavioral kind of questions in general. And then, for my case, it's a little bit special. I always use Google Meet to record myself and analyze, my answers, and including, the pronunciation or the, my facial expressions or the answer, the clarity for those answers. I think by preparing on the interviews very thoroughly, it really allows me to get the job offers. I shared with you, before. For my first full-time job, I got 3 job offers at 3 different companies. And I think by preparing those questions is really, really helpful. Yes.
Yeah. I love that tip around recording yourself and seeing how you come across. That is absolutely terrifying. Everybody.
It is a torture, honestly, to look at yourself, especially a lot of people, I'm sure you understand, they don't want to hear their own voice. But to me, as an international student, back then English was not perfect. That was the only way that I can actually improve. Yes.
Yeah. And so it was those 2-3 things that kind of, as you say, got you to a position where you actually ended up with, you say 3 job offers at that time?
Yes.
Yeah. And that was, that was after the internship?
Yes, that was after the internship when I was trying to get my first full-time job. So I started sending out the applications, reaching out to people, on LinkedIn, trying to secure that first full-time job. But just by reaching out to people on LinkedIn and preparing for the interviews, I ended up received 3 job offers for the first full-time job. Yes.
Nice. And how did you end up choosing which one to go for?
Well, interestingly, 3 job offers is all influencer marketing. Because early on, I already decided after my marketing internship, I just decided to give influencer marketing a try, specifically to focus on that for my first full-time job. But then 3 job offers. One is easy to basically move on. That is basically paid internship. But again, after my 6 months marketing internship, I definitely prefer, a full-time job. But between those 2 full-time jobs for influencer marketing, both are marketing agency, both are the same position, both offer the similar compensation. I think as a lot of people, I did my research. Okay? I read the reviews on, like on the website to say what is people's actual experience working at that company, what's the culture, what's the benefit. And in the end, I choose one that is, makes more sense for me.
Yeah, got it. Makes sense. Yeah, I feel like do your research is a common theme here. So that's great. And then just talk a little bit about how your career has progressed since then. That job offer you accepted, you moved there, and then you've moved on. You moved on from there to where you are now. Is that right?
Yeah. So after my internship, I landed the first full-time job and in influence marketing. So basically, including a 6 months internship and also the first full-time job, I basically did influence marketing for about 1.5 years. And after that, I was thinking to just, again, give a Google advertising or you can say search engine marketing a try. Because that was I learned at school, but I never have any real life experience. And also another reason for me, it was always fascinating to think about how many customers like you and me actually searching on Google or Bing like every single day, and how Google ads and Bing ads actually affected customers by the buying behavior. That was my main reason to basically switch or pivot from influence marketing to Google ads. Yes.
Nice.
But another thing to mention here, which is why I said working for a marketing agency, it is relatively easier to pivot because for a full service marketing agency, they have different kind of areas. Yes.
Well, I feel like you made a great decision going from influencer to paid search because paid search is, it's one of the best ones. So that's great. Anything else? Any other tips or advice that we've not talked about that you'd give people either to getting that first job or like the interview process or anything like that? What?
I mean, there's a couple things. Maybe so the first thing, this is not necessary, but it's totally optional. Like for me, when I started my job hunting like early on in my career, I every single time I did my job search, I always have a like a Excel spreadsheet. Now you can also use Google Sheet, right, if you want. So that just helps me keep everything organized because job hunting, honestly, it can be very stressful. So again, for each steps, no matter is like searching for the company, which company I want to apply for, who I can reach out to at this company on LinkedIn. So just keep everything very organized has been really helpful for me. I can make it very detailed, like even when I reach out these people on LinkedIn, which day I reach out to these people, which day these people got back to me, which day I had my interview, my second round interview, etc. So I know what's the right time actually to follow up. Yes. Um.
Yeah. Something I'm going to just mention there, we haven't quite talked about it, but like the follow up and the importance of following up with people. And I mean, having a spreadsheet is great idea because then you can then keep on top of it. You're speaking to a lot of people. When did you speak to them last? When did you follow up? If it's a week later, how important did you find the follow up to be?
It was so important. Even just for that unpaid internship, for that unpaid marketing internship that led to my first full-time job in the States later on. So for that unpaid internship, I got my interview, but I did not receive a yes immediately. So, and I followed up with the CEO via email, and he did not get back to me. But then, I follow up again, still no response. So I just, I tried another method. I follow up on LinkedIn again, just to see if I can get a response. I think at least 5 times, after 5 times follow up, I actually received a yes for the job offer. And then the day after, before I left the company for that unpaid internship, I was joking saying how helpful this internship has been and how hard it was actually getting this internship. And then the CEO was basically saying that he just wants to make sure he can hire the right person who really wanted this job. Because again, marketing industry is very competitive. Even for the internship, even for the unpaid internship, there are so many people out there. If I did not follow up, honestly, I probably won't even get that internship.
Wow. Yeah. Very interesting. Awesome. I think so much great advice there. I'm going to try and summarize. So do your research, figuring out who you should be speaking to, and be organized about that. Get a spreadsheet together, note down contacted them. Try and have a think about, if you can, the kind of specialist area you want to go into, so that it makes it easier to, be more direct and pointed in terms of who you're speaking to and the roles you're going after. Do your research in terms of like mutual connections, mutual interests. Like it sounds like it is a quantity game in terms of you've got to send a lot of messages, but there's got to be some quality there as well. Like there's got to be authentic. It can't just be copy paste.
Yes.
And then follow ups, super important. Always got to follow up. You can't just, fire and forget. You've got to keep checking in with people. And then, the last one was the record yourself and watch it back, which a great one.
Yes. So again, everything that I shared here today is really not from a book or article that I write, and it's all from my real experience. As an international student, sometimes you just have to figure it out, and that's what I did. And I'm not here to telling anybody to do anything. I'm just here trying to share my story. And if somebody finds this helpful and want to give it a try, hopefully they can apply something that in their job search. And hopefully this is really, really helpful. Yes.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I really appreciate you coming on and sharing that. I think if hopefully you don't get inundated, but if people wanted to reach out to you to ask for like advice and help, could they reach out to you on LinkedIn?
Yes, always happy to help. That's actually another thing that I did not share. It's going to be shared quickly. So because I have received so many people's help on LinkedIn, they are later the stranger before to me, but they just by getting back to me, giving me that an interview opportunity really changed my whole career in the US. So one thing that is very important to me, which is another reason I wanted to be here, is called always appreciate other people's help and give it back. Whenever I got promoted or something happened in my career, that is great. I always send a thank you note to those people who helped me in the past and saying that without your help, this would not have happened. And because of you, now I want to have more people. I want to have people just like me early in their career. They have no experience, but like you give me an experience that changed my career, and I want to be that person. Yes.
That's amazing. Yeah, pay it forward. Awesome. Well, this is great. Really fun. Lots of great advice. Thanks, Now.
Same. Thank you.